All right, this is the man who reported the Orioles' interest in one Carlos Correa. He writes about baseball for Con las Bases Full. He's got a YouTube channel he's going to tell us about as well. He is a member of the Baseball Writers Association of America. He's Raul Ramos, and he's with us now here on GCR. Raul, it's Glenn and Paul in Baltimore. It's great to chat with you. Thank you for taking a couple of minutes for us this morning.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm here to answer any questions that you may have, and I know that you have plenty.
Yeah, Raul, as you'd imagine, you really shook up the city of Baltimore yesterday, my friend. You got this city turned on a dime, and all of a sudden absolutely gobsmacked and panicked. So I guess here's the difficulty, right? I believe it or not, I am not a bilingual speaker. And so I was forced to use Google Translate in order to read more of the details in the report. And so some things I always wonder about in translation what might be lost. So can you clarify a couple of things for me at the start?
Sure.
The figure 10 years, $350 million. Were you reporting that the Orioles were willing to spend that money, or that was the interest they had in spending that money, or was it more the Orioles are interested and the contract for Carlos Correa is likely to be in that territory?
Okay, let me make a few things clear. I was listening to you guys before you guys called me.
Yep.
And I think this is completely different than the Mark Teixeira fiasco.
Yep.
This is a different leadership. Let's have that straight up. And I'm sure that Elias and the rest understand that they need to compete with a good team in order to be able to run with and against the Yankees, Boston, Toronto, and Tampa.
Sure.
And so for what my sources told me, again, they met before the lockout. They exchanged figures.
Okay.
So, yes, they put an offer on the table. 10 years, top heavy. And now I mentioned this early in the morning in Spanish baseball news, and I mentioned it yesterday on my baseball channel. Top heavy the first 2 years. Where they will be offering, where they offer at that point, around $44 million per season, the first two, and around 29 and change the other 8. So what I'm saying, I'm not saying that Baltimore is going to get Carlos Correa.
Right.
What I'm saying is like they are making an effort. They are interested, and you know what? For a team that have been having so bad, horrible seasons, they understand that they need to make an impact in order to become reliable. Another thing, you guys have been doing wonderful with your farm system.
Yes.
And in your farm system, you guys have Grayson Rodriguez, and you have about 6 Hispanic players in your top 30, not counting Cesar Prieto, the Cuban player that you guys got for very cheap, like for $600,000. The Orioles envision these guys to be able to play at a high level in the major leagues. And in their eyes, them bringing Correa to this group of Hispanic players, they'll be able to have fans from Puerto Rico, from Cuba, from Venezuela, to Mexico. So they want to cater also to the Spanish community, putting a good team, right? Mm-hmm. So that has to mean something about it. You want to put talent around, and they also understand that in order to be competitive, they need to bring more players in the future. If you go in your farm system, if they are able to get Correa, they have about 4 or 5 players that can play shortstop in your farm system, top 30. If they're able to get Correa, they could trade these players for other pieces that they will require in order to be successful.
Yeah, so, pitching standing out amongst that, right? That they are going to have a need for pitching at some point if this works out, and that would provide you the opportunity to trade young players in order to acquire pitchers. I mean, that's fascinating, Raul.
Yeah, so again, I'm not saying that they will get them. I'm saying their intent, their serious interest, and it seems that they have a plan. And also, having Elias it's a link, right?
Right. Of course, yeah. We talked about that. I mean, almost. We've dismissed it in fairness until now. Like we've talked about it, though. Clearly, there is reason to think that Mike Elias specifically might earmark and say, I'm going. This is the guy I want individually, and not just I want to spend this amount of money on any sort of player that might be out there.
Yes, and again, I'm not sure about these details, but I'm sure that if Carlos Correa is actually really interested, he will ask, well, you guys hire me, but what's the next step?
Right.
Who else are you going to plan to hire? But that's a conversation that maybe they already have, maybe they're having. I don't know. What I actually know is that Correa's changing agents to Scott Boras. I was told that there's a good relationship between Baltimore people and Scott Boras, so that's not an issue.
He is Raul Ramos, who's with us here on GCR discussing this report of the Orioles' interest in Carlos Correa. Raul, I guess, again, work through my, skepticism, of course, is the word that I'm going to use, because this is, as I said to you, this is gobsmacking, right? Like, this comes so out of nowhere for us.
Yeah.
Do you sense that this might have always been part of the plan for the Orioles, or did they need to see the market? Did you get at all a sense of how this came about, that the Orioles would be interested in Carlos Correa?
Actually, it's kind of surprising. I don't cover the Orioles much, to tell you the truth. I cover more Yankees and Mets baseball.
Mm-hmm.
But the Orioles, they have the space on the CBT, and that's what makes it interesting. So I'm guessing that probably when the lockout happened, the Correa team was waiting to see how much the CBT was going to go up, to see other options, to see who else will be able to offer. But let's remember, there's not that many teams that are able or willing to offer over $300 million. Now, the Corey Seager signing by Texas opened a can of worms, because if you're going to offer that much money to Corey Seager, then you have to offer same amount or even more for Carlos Correa,
Right.
And that's what made Carlos Correa contract even a lot more money.
So okay, if the Orioles don't land Carlos Correa, Raul, do you read into this as the Orioles have the money, they're willing to start spending, and they've got to spend it elsewhere, or do you think this is more uniquely about Correa?
Well, Glenn, I don't know.
Yeah, I understand.
I don't know. If I answer this, I will be making it up, right?
Right.
And I'm just reporting.
Yep. Specifically about Correa. I get that. And by the way, I appreciate that. That certainly lends more credence to your report. The fact that you're not willing to hypothesize about something else. It lends far more credence to the fact that this is what you know about and this is what you know about. Did you get any sense about, like, where the Correa side is on all of this, Raul? Like, that they, we heard earlier in the offseason, we heard reports that Correa would be willing to go to a team that was rebuilding, that he wouldn't eliminate rebuilding teams in his consideration. Do you think that there is a legitimacy to the idea that Carlos Correa would be willing to come to Baltimore?
Well, let's go 2 steps backwards.
Yeah.
Let's remember who is his agent. What we know is that Scott Boras doesn't left money on the table. If the Orioles are willing, that we know, right, and able to offer X amount of money, and no other team goes over, I think, because it's Scott Boras, Carlos Correa will sign with Baltimore. If we go back, and also now with the union, maybe, and I'm just saying, just in general, teams will a player will decide to sign with a different team. Maybe if the difference is not that much, but if we go back to Pujols, when he decided to sign with the Angels instead of the Cardinals, he signed with the Angels because it was so much money over, and not signing with the Angels, it will put a step back to his union bodies, to the players, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm guessing that if the Orioles offer the best offer, and they are, well, so far, without the CBT, that hopefully everything's going to be resolved today, they have the space, they're willing to offer that big contract. So as of right now, I don't see other teams doing this. Yes, you could say, oh, maybe the Cubs. Well, the Cubs, they they have been trying to stay away from 10-year contracts.
Yep.
Right. The people that say that the Yankees will get that, I guess they're crazy. They're smoking something. And it's, the reason is like right now they don't have the space. Yes, if they go over, they can pay the tax. But right now, the issue is that the draft picks. You don't want to lose draft pick. And that's what is putting like a break on all this. So again, the only thing I can say is that the Orioles, they are able, because they have the space under budget, and they're willing to get Carlos Correa to make the Orioles a better team.
Let me follow up with that, Raul, and what you spoke to about the interest it could develop for them in the Latin markets and what it could mean to the organization. Carlos Correa, I think there is a question that people are asking about Carlos Correa as a baseball player. Is he worth $350 million? Right? Nobody's debating that he's a good baseball player, but we need to be fair, right? He's hit 300 one time in his career, right? The Orioles didn't spend this amount of money for Manny Machado a few years ago, and I think most people would say Manny Machado was an overall better baseball player at that point than Carlos Correa. Would signing Correa make the Latin side of this? You understand his significance in that community because it's the community, of course, that you touch. Would signing Carlos Correa be that significant in creating a new market and creating new interest that it would make up whatever the difference would be in whether or not a player is really worth $35 million a season?
Well, let's remember something, right? Personally, I don't think any player is worth that much. But the market
dictates it, right?
So that's it, right? Yeah. And again, this is what the 1% of elite players, and they're making that money because they. Come on, if you were able to play baseball at that level, you want to get paid, right? But unfortunately, I cannot do it, so I have to write about it.
Yep.
So I will say that his impact will be huge. I think that, his impact in marketing, right? And I think that if he's able to sign with the team, that there will be a plan of like what type of player he wants to be surrounded by, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you cannot only be surrounded by rookies. You need to be surrounded by other good players, like the catcher prospect. He seems to be a great player, but we don't know because they're only prospects, right?
Yep.
But he looks like he's a can't miss kind of guy. But still.
Yeah, we sure hope so, Raul.
Mm-hmm.
We are banking on that here in Baltimore. That Adley Rutschman really is that type of player. But of course, and as you said, if you were listening, Paul and I alluded to that, like. This does alleviate some of that, right? That signing Carlos Correa gives you another roadmap to making this thing work if Adley Rutschman isn't, legitimately the messiah as far as a catching prospect is concerned. If he's just a good player, this alleviates a little bit of that because you have more to work with.
And Glenn, let me say something to you.
Yes.
The only reason that I would say that probably it will put a rock on the road for Correa and the Orioles is that if he asks for he can become like a free agent at some point of the contract.
Okay. So
and the reason is like they're trying to invest, right? They're trying to invest and to build around.
Right. So if he wants out after 4 years, that's not going to be something they're going to be in love with.
Yeah. Or I don't know 4 years, but definitely if they put a clause, if he wants to put a clause after 2 years. I think that would be a deal breaker.
Right, because it would be very difficult to fathom this team being a World Series contender in the next 2 years, right? Like that's a really fascinating side of this is that that would not make any sense at all for the Orioles for there to be a 2-year out for Carlos Correa whatsoever because there's no way they can create a World Series winner in that process. Raul, do you have a sense for time-wise? Like, I mean, obviously, whenever this agreement, and we're hoping maybe it comes today with Major League Baseball. But whenever this gets put into motion, do you assume that the Correa deal comes together within a week, say, of whenever, we baseball begins again?
You know what? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I hope. But again, everything depends on the CBT. Everything depends on who's willing to offer 10 years. And we know that there are not that many teams willing to offer 10 years. I think that I'm a romantic, so I always wanted to see Correa finish his career with the Astros.
Sure.
And I would like that. You know what? I would like a player to start being a number one draft pick and finish their career with that same team. I don't know if the Astros say, you know what, let's offer 10 years and, I don't know, let's say $300 million. I don't know. Now, again, I'm making this up.
Right.
I don't know if Scott Boras will give a hometown discount. I don't know. But we don't know after the lockout is over if there's going to be another team willing to match or go over. So I don't know.
Raul, let me you tell people about your YouTube channel and what it is that you guys do with Con Las Bases Full.
So Con Las Bases Llenas, which is like with the bases loaded, is the biggest Spanish baseball website in the U.S. We cover baseball, MLB, Caribbean, Asia, and so on. Over 2 million people read us a month. And so if you read Spanish, if you want to improve your high school Spanish, you're more than welcome to go and visit us at www.conlasbasesllenas.com. And there you have baseball, news, stories, and everything 365 days a year. And also, I have my own YouTube channel. It's Baseball Ahora, baseball in English, and Ahora, like now.
Yep.
And we do it Mondays and Thursdays at 8:30 Eastern Time p.m. And there you see an analysis. You see interviews with players. We're actually more retired players. Last week we had David Concepcion.
Oh yeah, I've heard of him. I'm familiar.
Yeah. And about 2 weeks before that we had Tony Oliva.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. These guys are okay.
Jose Contreras. We have had in the past Louis Tiant. We have had Orlando Cepeda, and plenty of legends.
Well, I mean, it sounds like something that if you are a fan of baseball, you should be checking out. Baseball or on YouTube. Of course, I probably butcher it. My Spanish, I'm sorry, Raul. It's been such a long time since I was in Senorita Knowles class at Perry Hall High School, and I have fallen apart over the years. But I'm telling you, you are flipping this city upside down right now with your reporting as people are losing their minds about the thought of the Orioles and Carlos Correa.
I can tell you, I have received so many funny messages, tweets, and everything that, you know what, let me put it this way. I hope that he will sign with the Orioles.
Yeah, you'll be a very popular man, Raul. I'll tell you right now, if the Carlos Correa signs with the Orioles, we might let you throw out a first pitch at some point this season. Raul, I encourage everybody to follow you on Twitter at Ramos Raul I. Correct is the place where they can follow you.
Yes, you can. Yep.
Raul, really appreciate you taking time to join us this morning. Will be fascinating to see how this plays out. But thank you very much for your time, your honesty. That absolutely means a lot. And look forward to chatting with you again down the road. All right.
Oh, absolutely. And hopefully we can talk a bit more about baseball during the season. Okay.
Yes. Good luck, no question. Thank you, Raul.